Lord, we love you and we thank you. In your name we pray. Amen. Alrighty. I'm going to unravel this guy just a bit. Sorry, I'm just going to get it nice and loosened up for people to share so they can, I don't know, if you guys are movers or what you guys do. I know when I was up here speaking, I was yanking that cord. So I'll get it loosened up for you guys. All right. Happy Monday, guys. How's everybody doing? Doing okay. We're doing good tonight. All right. I like the energy. A little chillier today. The weather's starting to go down in a good way. I kind of like the cold. So sorry if you're summer folk. I like the winter. Anyways, so if you remember last week, Miranda mentioned that Freshley would look a little different tonight. We're going to be doing a testimony night. Testimony in the sense of not necessarily your story of salvation, but more so testimony in the sense of like a testament or a remembrance of what just the Lord has been doing this semester. Whether that's in Freshley, just in your personal lives, just how the Lord has been working and moving just in our community and the lives of our freshmen and our leaders and anyone else that wants to share. If you're just feeling inspired, you feel like the Spirit is like prompting you to share, hey, you don't have to be a freshman or even regularly come to Freshley. We would love to hear. So, with that being said, we want to be people that practice remembrance as a discipline, or kind of like that rule of life that we've been focusing on, all these different elements of forming our rules of life. We want remembering things that the Lord has done for us, done in our lives, to be part of that. So, we want to put that into practice by giving us opportunities to share some of those things. So, you'll be hearing from a few different folks in the room. We're going to kick it off with Gus. He's going to come up. Give him some hype. Hype him up. So we're going to hear from Gus, and then we're going to kind of rotate through. They know the order, so I won't introduce everyone as they come up. They'll kind of come up, introduce themselves if they want, and share how the Lord has just been moving in their lives. More so in the context of this past semester, but if it goes outside of that, that's totally okay. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh man, part of me wishes I'd agreed to share. Hey, got good news for you guys. You'll have a second chance to share if you guys want after everyone shares. We'll open the floor if any of you guys feel like just this prompting or just desire to come up and share. We'll give space for that. So be thinking about that, praying about that a little bit as people come up. So I will stop talking. Give it to Gus.
Hey guys, I'm Gus, like she said. I'm a sophomore, Freshley leader, and I didn't really prepare anything, so this might be like all over the place, but it's whatever. But yeah, I feel like this semester has been a huge like growing experience for me, and even like reaching back into like last year. I feel like this semester I've really been able to like press into a lot of relationships that I built last year, and like I know coming into college, I like all I wanted was like good group of friends and like guys that I could hang out with. So I ended up rushing a fraternity and ended up getting a bed, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like these are my guys. And they just really weren't. So came to Freshley a couple times. And I was like, oh, this is cool, you know, some cool guys. Never really went to Wesley. I don't know why. But then, I don't know, Freshley was pretty cool. So I kept going like second semester. Josh and Tony back there were my small group leaders. And like after a few like months of going to Freshley, it kind of like switched from like being like, oh, the frat guys are my guys, to being like, these guys are my guys, which was really cool. So this semester I've really gotten to get closer with those guys, and just like stepping into a leadership role with them has been incredible. And just through like D group and stuff with Tony, it's just been really awesome. I feel like I've grown in a lot of cool ways. He's just encouraged me in a lot of ways, and same with everybody. So I'm really thankful for that. And then also just like the men's ministry in general as well. I feel like it's come a really long way. Like I said, I wasn't around much last year, so I didn't really get to experience it a whole lot. But I know like the few times I was there weren't a whole lot of guys, which was kind of like weird at first, but kind of got used to it. And then we did like a men's golf trip at the end of last year. And I had like already had a trip planned, a beach trip with my friends. And so they're like, hey, you should come to this golf trip. And I was like, going to the beach? Nope. The beach is like my favorite place ever. So I was like, no chance, I'm going to play golf. But I ended up going, and it was really awesome. So that was a pretty big step, because I like really wanted to go to the beach, but I just didn't. And I remember I think there was like 8 guys there total, and only like five of them I think were like involved in Wesley. So I was like, wow, there's just like not a whole lot of people here, but now there's like a ton of guys here, which is awesome. And just super thankful for Joester and small group. Y'all are super encouraging for me too. Y'all pour into me as much as I try to pour into y'all. Do my best. But yeah, sorry, that was kind of quick, I think. But that's all I got. So.
Hey guys, I'm Jack. I'm a freshman here, and my story is pretty similar. Like, I came into this semester, like, my whole life I've been surrounded by like pretty cool guys, like lots of like Christian guys I can like surround myself with, and it was really easy. Like, I didn't have to go around and like look and like try to find people. So like when I got to college, it was a lot different, and I like ended up hanging around like, I guess, not the best influences for the first like month or so of college, and that was really hard. Like, I found myself in like a lot of dark places, and I could tell I wasn't like really happy with college. Like, I'd get to the weekend and I'd just be like so sad. I like wanted to go home and stuff, and like that was a really hard time for me. But like the more I kept on coming to Wesley and Freshley, like the more I found my community with like my small group and my awesome leaders, and it's been really cool to experience that. And that's like the biggest thing I've seen like God working in my life so far, of like being alive, is just like giving me awesome people to hang around, like in a setting where it's hard to make the right choices, because like in college it's like pretty easy to do whatever you want. So it's like awesome to be surrounded with guys that are pointing you in the right direction, and just like being there for you no matter what. So yeah, that was really short, but that's my testimony for this semester.
Hi guys, I'm Sophia. Unfortunately, if I didn't write notes, I would just get so I like wrote a few things down. So you're welcome, everyone. But basically, coming into freshman year, my boyfriend and I had broken up right before college, as I really hope I'm not the only one who went through that, because that'd make me a loser, but it's fine. But so I came in and was like, oh, 2 weeks of college will totally fix this. Like, new people, like, it'll be great. Those 2 weeks went by, and then I was, in fact, still sad. But that's okay. We're making it through. And then the other thing that I really felt, can you all hear me? Because I cannot hear myself. Okay, cool. And then the other thing that kind of sucked about going to college was feeling like I was just ripped out of my community back home. I had a really tight-knit group of girls back home, and we all went to church, and we had known each other for years. And I loved them a lot, and I still love them, and we still keep in touch. But getting ripped out of the womb was no fun. and so I really had to pray for community, and so that was definitely a growing and stretching experience. And I remember Weekend of Welcome specifically. Talk about trauma, man. That was bad. But I heard that me and my roommate heard that Wesley was having like a little like get together at the house, and I was like, yeah, let's go stop by. Like, I really don't want to. My social tank is absolutely like gone. We're done. But I came, and it was incredible. I met like some of the kindest people ever. I remember like there was a group like right about over here, and I was talking to some people in the back, and then my roommate Bella comes over to me, and she's like, oh my gosh, Sophia, you have to come over and meet these people. They're so cool. And then I promise you, it's exactly like that. If you've ever talked to Bella, you know that's exactly how she talks. But she came over, and she's like, oh my gosh, you have to meet these people. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. And then I meander on over, and then I meet these people, and they're so cool, and I hit it off with them, and then we all became friends. Okay, sorry. See, this is why I have to keep notes. But I immediately knew that the people here were really cool and seeking after the heart of God, and that these were the kind of people that I wanted to be surrounded by. And then, literally like the next week at Freshley, I walk in, and the staff already knew my name. And I was like, what is happening? Because I thought that was the coolest thing ever, how intentional the staff was with them just wanting to get to know us, and like how loved that made me feel and how known that made me feel. And it's something so simple, but like y'all literally just knew my name, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make it. I was like, I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, they knew my name. And she was like, well, I gave it to you, honey. And I was like, you sure did, Mom. But anyway, sorry, getting off track again. But anyway, thank y'all, staff, for being so kind and so intentional with us. Oh my gosh, and then they followed us on Instagram, which that about like flipped my lid, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then the next thing I noticed about, sorry, I'm gonna keep it short, I'm sorry. And then the next thing I noticed about Wesley was how engaging it was, and how low-key, while the rest of campus is like falling apart at the seams, like somehow, some way, the kids at Wesley like kind of have it together, and like we're all consistent, and it's just so inspiring to like get to be a part of y'all's class and like walk through this season of life with y'all. Because like I said, like you can just tell that you guys are like after the heart of God and like wanting to know more about Him and wanting to get closer to Him. So yeah, that's definitely an inspiration and like a fuel for me to keep going with my walk in Jesus. So anyway, and then also, Wesley also just introduced like a whole new way of following Jesus for me that just like simplified it and was like, hey, calm down, like He's got it, like God's got you. Like, and I, for the first time like in my life, was like, wow, I can really like sit back and let God do the work, and He will provide. So yeah, basically Wesley has just been like God's like love letter to me in college, and that's been really awesome and really sweet. So thank you to the staff so much for all your hard work that you put into making this ministry what it is and so great. I definitely appreciate it, and I know my classmates do as well. Thank you to my small group leaders, Allie and Morgan, who's not here, for pouring into us and loving us so well and listening to all of our talks. I don't even know what to call them anymore. Small groups. But yeah, thank y'all so much. That's my story.
I also wrote mine down, but hey, my name is Blake Barker. I haven't met you all yet, but I would love to get to know y'all. I just wanted to tell y'all a little bit about myself. I grew up in a Christian home and went to church every Sunday, but to be honest, during high school, I wasn't very close with God. I was caught up in worldly things. At some point last summer, I realized that I had fallen so far away from God that I needed to get closer to Him, not only for me, but for the people around me. I know now it was God drawing me closer to him and stirring my heart and my mind to have a desire to get to know him. That same night, I looked at my Instagram and I saw that Freshley had followed me. When I got to Georgia College, the very first weekend, I became extremely ill. I was sick the first 2 weeks of school. I was able to do the bare minimum with Georgia College freshman requirements, but other than that, I didn't really feel like doing much of anything. I didn't make any friends, and now thinking back about the situation at that time, I know it was God using that illness to protect me from falling into the same worldly things here in Milledgeville that kept me separated from him in high school. The third week of school, I went to my first Freshley. Tate was talking, and he was speaking that night about surrounding yourself with the community that has the same goals as you. After hearing him speak and being flooded with the Holy Spirit, I knew this was the place for me. One Bible verse that God has given me this semester is Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. With the help of Waffle House on Thursday mornings, meeting guys like Jack, Ryan, Sean, Charlie, and others, I feel that God is helping me to walk with companions that are striving for the same wisdom that only God can bring us. Soon after that, I was in my room at home one weekend, and God gave me the words mission trip. I thought about this, and I prayed about it, till one day after church, my mom and I were talking, and I asked her to start praying for a mission opportunity at my church back home. Well, the next day, I went to Freshley, and I heard about Jamaica. I knew that this was not a coincidence, and this would just be another part of God taking me down my path, his path for my life. This will be my first mission trip, and it's also caused me to think about all the other firsts I've experienced this semester. I've experienced my first time witnessing not only to strangers, but to friends back home that are still caught up in worldly things. I'm experiencing my first time giving my testimony and actually getting to say out loud the things that God has done for me in this short period of time. And I've definitely experienced my first time feeling at home with a group of believers. I'm very thankful to you guys and all that you've given me. I pray that I can give back and that God will use me for his plans at Wesley. Thank you, and God bless.
There's a lot of people here. My name is Sam. I'm a freshman. And 2 years ago, I left my church because I had a terrible thing happen in my life. And I was really religiously unstable to run to the Lord when this terrible thing happened in my life. So I ran away, and I made a lot of poor choices. And then on August 10th, my entire life changed because I had a really incredible roommate that I will not cry. I love Cassie, and Cassie changed my life because Cassie brought me back to the church. And the weekend of welcome at the time was the worst weekend of my life because I was dragged from campus ministry to campus ministry. And I was like, all I want to do is go home, Cassie, please. And then we went to church, and I was like, and she introduced me to her Christian friends, and I was like, I hate this. Like, can we please go home? But I sat still, and I listened, and I drove the car. And and I just, because of Cassie, I am standing here, and I am in this house. And without Cassie, I wouldn't be in this house. I wouldn't be going to church. I actually serve at the church, which I've never done that in my life. And I hadn't touched my Bible in 2 years, and right before I left for college, I literally, like 2 hours before I moved, I threw it into the box because I was like, maybe I might use this. And it was really dusty, LOL, because I hadn't touched it in 2 years. And I think, like, just looking back at that moment in my life where I was frustrated with everything around me because I just did not like the Lord for something that happened in my life. But I have all these friends now, and I have community, and I get to wake up every morning with the best roommate. That's not biased. I do have the best roommate. Because she brought me back to the church. She brought me back to the Lord. And whenever I'm just like really upset in my life, I look at Cassie and it's like a giant slap in the face from the Lord because he's like, shut up, sit down, Like, I actually used a human being this time because you didn't listen to me. And I'm like embarrassing her over there. But because of Cassie, I am standing here and speaking, and I go to Wesley, I go to Freshley, I show up even when I'm upset, even when I'm mad, because the Lord used her, and she's so incredibly amazing. And I have this incredible community. I wouldn't have all my friends without her, because most of my friends go here. And it's just like, it's such an incredible story that like the Lord used my roommate to bring me back to ministry. So that's my story.
Oh, that's a lot of people. All right. I don't think I need the microphone. I'm really energetic today. I'm not usually energetic. I just have a lot of caffeine in me, so we're just gonna go with it. So, hey, I'm Ryan. If you don't know me, I do a lot of intramural stuff. I'm a big sports guy. I like recent Dunkin' plate. Americanas are disgusting. I don't understand why people order them. It's just water. I was scared going into college. I really was. I did not. I was scared I was going to not find community. I'm a super shy person usually. Most people know me. I have shy moments. I don't really like talking to people a lot. I am super insecure about myself sometimes, and I suffer with depression a lot. And I just finding this Freshley community and finding this Wesley community is like the best thing I ever could have done for my life. Because I don't know. One thing about me is I really hate firsts. So like when Jack was like, we need to go to this first Freshley service, I was like, I'm good. Like I can't deal with like going to the room for the first time, or trying to find somewhere for the first time, or like going somewhere for the first time, because I'm just so scared. But once I go in there, I know I'll enjoy it like more than I'll ever enjoy it. So I love this group. I love this group of people. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. I feel like me being here is something that happened for this reason, and I'm so blessed to be here, standing here right now. A little bit about my journey. Early in March, I was really struggling with depression and just like trying to figure out what I wanted to be, and I was like, I need to change my life for the better. And I found Christ, and I felt so much better. I got baptized April 10th, and like just everything changed for me. My whole life just like changed, and I felt so much more. I felt so much more at peace and so much more. And it's been a struggle. Like this semester's been a roller coaster for me. Like it's been ups and downs, but I just know that the Lord has me no matter what. And it's super awesome. And, it's a good reminder in my heart every single time I just think about it. 'Cause I know that He has my back, even if I don't sometimes have my own back. That doesn't make sense, but it's alright. What I'm trying to say is I really feel like community was a big thing that was grown here, because I didn't really know how to reach out to people. I really had to reach out in college, because in high school it's like it took me 4 years to make a solid group of friends, because I don't easily make friends. But like I really had to step out of my boundaries and step out of my comfort zone here, and I just feel like it was such a blessing to have this already here and already established for me to be able to easily make these friends and lifelong relationships that I really think are going to last for a long time. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I really think they're going to last for a long, long time. I'm really excited about that, and I don't know. I can't express how much gratitude I have for this group of people, just how loving each and every one of the coordinators and each and every one of the people I've met, like Jack and Peyton and Gus and Joe, and I'm just all over words at this point, but I'm Blake and all the people that just inspire me every day to keep going in life and just keep achieving what I want to achieve, and just dream big and know that God's got me. So that's my testimony. It's kind of rambled, but I hope you enjoy it.
Anybody else? I guess now we'll open the floor if anybody else wants to share, has anything on their hearts, feel like anyone feel just that little Holy Spirit nudge, that tug, not to be confused with anxiety, but that heart racing kind of burst that doesn't make you feel anxious, but maybe. Cole, what's up? You want to share? All right. You want to share from there? You want to come up here?
You're right, Ryan. There's a lot of people. Hi, everyone. I'm Cole. I'm a third-year chemistry major, and I'm a production intern. I had a little bit of a different journey through Wesley than y'all. I commuted my first year of college because I came into college during COVID. So it was a little weird getting around and finding a group, even harder than it normally is. And I would just come to college, and I would go straight home, and I was miserable. I'd get up about 2 in the morning, go to work at Publix, drive here, go to class all day, chemistry classes. Chemistry kind of sucks. And then I would drive home. And in about November, I was in a car crash that almost ended my life. I went into a ditch at 70 because I fell asleep. And I just knew something had to change. I still have the scars from surgery for my broken arm. And then I met my friend named Kyle on campus. He's not here anymore. He transferred. And he was like, hey, come get free coffee with me. I was like, free coffee? I'm down. College student, you run on caffeine. And I ended up here at this amazing place, at this amazing house. And that just started my journey. They were like, hey, we need leaders. And I was like, what can I help with? I'm good with everything. And they're like, we need someone in production. I was like, got it. And since then, I've been flipping through slides. I love it. And that just started my journey back into Christ. I had been kind of in and not going away from the church, but in and out of going to church religiously and just kind of shying away and stuff. And that just grounded me firmly, like in the love of God, where I knew that I needed to be. And I've become like the pioneer of my family, my brothers. I have this amazing family supporting me. I'm a first generation high school graduate, college student, and now because Wesley has taken me so far in my journey with God, I've become kind of the spiritual leader of the family, dragging along my brothers and stuff with the help of my mom and my amazing stepdad. One of my brothers, specifically Austin, has had a really tough time with drugs, him and his girlfriend, and we've worried about him and his children. It's been a cycle of bringing them home, kind of getting them better, back up on their feet, and then sending them out into the world again. And I got a phone call earlier this morning that they had both been saved and they had both been going to church. And to see that I've had a part of that and that I now get to watch 4 of my nieces and nephews grow up in a house of God has just been so amazing to me. And Wesley started all of that, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Thanks for sharing, Nicole. That's good stuff, bud. Anybody else feeling that little pitter patter? Allie? Hey! Go, Allie. Here you go, girl.
If you told me 6 months ago that I'd be standing up here right now, I probably would have laughed in your face. I actually did not grow up going to church, and coming to college, that's something that I really wanted to change. So my first weekend here, I walked into this house by myself. It was pouring down rain, and immediately knew that this was going to be my home for the next 4 years. I consistently came to Freshley all year, started coming to Wesley, and then at the end of the year, I had an opportunity to lead, and I was like, I want to do Freshley again. And I know that's exactly where the Lord was leading me, because I have the sweetest small group of girls, and I just see I see a lot of myself in them, and that's been really cool, just seeing like yes, you Sam, just being able to minister to them in the ways that I was ministered to last year. It's just been really sweet, and I love Wesley. You guys are the best, and thank you.
Thank you, Allie. That was good. Anybody else? Let's go. Come on, Bella. Bella.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Bella. Y'all are right. There is a lot of people when you stand at this angle. Wow. Anyway, I'm a freshman, obviously Freshley. I actually forgot this was happening tonight. Otherwise, I would have been like, oh yeah, girl. But yeah, kind of similar to a lot of y'all's stories. I had like the most amazing community in high school. I went to like a private little art school, and it's like the thing you go there till like from when you were 7 all the way till you graduate high school. And I had been there since I was 8, and so I just had the most amazing community of girls that had walked me through so much of life, and I had a great church group, and I just didn't want to leave it. I literally would have stayed in high school if I could have, but they said no. So I left, and I came here, and I guess I kind of have this, like, idea of God that just from a very young age, and I'm sure if y'all have grown up in a Christian home, you kind of get this, that you want to please God a lot, and so I would please God, and kind of be legalistic about it, and I just didn't have a good view of his goodness and his love, and that he actually delights in giving us things. And so some stuff happened in high school to my family to where coming here and moving away from home was going to be very, very difficult for me and a very big transition. So just coming here in general was just like horrifying, terrifying, didn't want to do it, and all the things. And I didn't think that God would ever duplicate what I had in high school and the community and the joy that I had. So I came here, and Weekend of Welcome sucked, as it does, and the first 2 weeks were hard. But my friends dragged me around to different college ministries, and we jumped in with both feet, and we're just like, okay, like we're gonna see what God has in this. And now, kind of looking around at where we are, we only have 4 weeks left of our freshman semester, first semester, and I mean, it's literally November, and in my life, God has duplicated and exceeded anything that I ever would have thought of, and in a completely different way. Like, I mean, like, kind of like Sophia was coming here and being like, everything's gonna be fine, we're gonna be fine. And we're better than fine, and in a completely other way than we thought we were gonna be fine. And it just keeps coming. So yeah, can't wait to see what semester 2 holds. Okay, thank you.
Who's next? Just kidding. But not. Jason. Cool. Okay. All right. Set him up.
3 minutes? Okay. Oh, it's running somehow. That's fun. All right. Cool. Hey, if we haven't met, my name is Jason. I'm a senior physics major and Freshley intern. So I rolled up to Freshley day 0. I texted one of my friends that I was in the church nursery with, said, hey, Freshley's having an ice cream social. My sister texted me about it, made sure I knew. So I showed up. That's pretty much been college. I showed up, met a guy named Hayden. He's real awesome. If you ever get pulled over, meet a guy named Hayden Blackburn. That's him now. He's now sheriff's deputy. But he shook my hand, tried to learn my name. Didn't go too great. He called me Jaden. So then so I showed up the next night at Freshley. He shook my hand, tried to remember my name, called me Jaden again. But he tried. And he was always excited to see me every time I showed up to Freshley. He was always smiling, came over, shook my hand, said, hey, welcome. And he just kept coming back. So it's been crazy 4 years. It's been an absolute blast to just kind of sit back and watch God work, to watch him speak, to try and listen to how, he's moving. I don't even know how many times. So last year, I discipled Cole. And I can't even tell you how many times I would be thinking of him, like, oh, I should text him. And then he'd reply, how did you know to text me? Like, today has been bad for this reason or another, or this is going on. And God's just consistently shown up, like, in him and in my community. Guys have just come around me. And it was cool because, like, my freshman year, I heard the senior guys talk about what men's used to be. Like, men's was this great thing. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So my sophomore year, I joined men's, and we had some great times. We went camping. That was a blast. We played a whole lot of cornhole. Got real good at cornhole. But it was a small crew, and then several of them graduated last year. Men's was even smaller. COVID definitely didn't help. But this year, to see just so many guys show up so consistently, to show up to Waffle House, I mean, to get up that early, crazy. I mean, that 5:45 alarm, it's something. But showing up to Waffle House and just hanging out and being able to talk about those things, just hang out as guys, has been absolutely awesome. So it's been so cool to watch these guys grow, and just hang out in community with them. See?
Zach Balcom, come on, bud.
Good evening. I'm a teacher and I taught today. I don't want to speak, but sometimes the Lord tells you to. So my name's Zach Balcom. I'm a graduate and I live here now. My wife, you'll hear her speak on Wednesday at Wesley. She's a pretty blonde girl who talks a lot more enthusiastically than this. But I didn't know I was going to come tonight. I kind of made a late decision. I talked to Miranda about it. I said, should I come? She said, yeah, it's testimonies. And I said, sure, why not? Not like I haven't done anything today. Still haven't eaten dinner. That's next. But listening to y'all's testimonies has been just very impactful. It's been 13 years since I went to my first Freshley in this room, which is bizarre. 13 years since I was up in that office up there, which used to be a prayer room. The Lord told me I was going to come here before I was accepted. I came on a visit, and the Lord was like, hey, you're going to come here. I said, cool. And you know, the people I met 13 years ago, they're still my friends. And so I want to encourage y'all to just nurture this. You know, the Freshly back then, there were 10 of us with 3 leaders. It's a big room to have 10 people in it. You just kind of get lost. We all sat in our different corners and yelled at each other. But not only is the growth incredible, but the people in this room can absolutely carry you, not just through this season, but the next and the one after. My friends in Freshley, I've done ministry with them. Some served here on the Wesley staff, some serve around the world. We go to each other's weddings and celebrate each other's kids. So I know some of that feels very, I don't know, a bit out there, I guess, from a 31-year-old. But, you know, the future is something y'all are all working towards. A lot of y'all have set your majors, and, you know, it's not that far away. So keep nurturing this. Y'all have some great leaders. Some of them I've had the pleasure to know for a long time. Some I'm getting to know a little bit. Some I've discipled. Some of y'all have been able to sit around my table and have some meals with me. It's been great to hear y'all talk tonight. But that's what I want to say, is just keep going. This is a special group, and what y'all shared so far about how the Lord has changed your life, how the people in this room, some of them have pulled you out of dark places. More will come, but the people in this room will always anchor you. So thank you, guys.
Anybody else? Jacob? Let's get it.
My name is Jacob, as you just heard. I'm a junior. So freshman year here was tough. Coming into college, I was in a relationship that, let's just call it, it wasn't sanctioned by the Lord. Let's say that. it's really easy to convince yourself that something's right when it's not. And so I kind of got to a point where I just like kind of woke up today and was like, crap, where am I? It was finishing my first semester freshman year, and I was just like, I would go to Wesley and then come back and then just feel like I was kind of living like two worlds, putting that mask on and then taking that mask off to put a different one on, which was just really unfulfilling. And so, I, going into second semester, called it quits on that and went through a period of 40 days of fasting and prayer for me and her, for her salvation, because she kind of stepped out of her faith over the course of like that semester, but really that whole year. And she just didn't really kind of tell me what was going on. I don't know if you all have, for an extended period of time, not done anything except do schoolwork, read the Bible, and pray. It's hard. It's very hard. But I don't regret any second of it. We don't have enough time to go into everything that happened, but crazy things happened, and I was just kind of had the revelation that we spend so much of our time thinking that control is such a good thing. Y'all, control sucks. You do not want control. You want to give that to God, because if we have the control and are driving the car, it's going to crash. And I crashed. So I just encourage you to give up that control and to do everything you can to help flip that switch in your brain that just realizes that, like, you talk about, there's that verse where it talks about like your parents want to give you such good gifts, how much more is your Heavenly Father going to give to you? Think about that in the context of like His plans, like how much more is He going to provide for you versus what you think you want versus what you need. And that was kind of what came out of that period for me. And with that, after I came out of that, just the feeling of like relief that now I can give my all to Wesley and the Lord without any like hesitation or any wondering about like what's that going to impact like another area of my life, because that became my life, and I'm really thankful for the community I found in band. I didn't have a home here. Callie, Margaret, you guys kind of gave that to me, and I'm really thankful for that. Jason wouldn't leave me alone at Wesley for the first little bit, and I'm so thankful for it, because I was like, Jason's going to know if I'm not there. And so he played a big part in helping me come back, and everyone. So again, if there's one thing I can encourage you is give that control to God, because His plan is way better than what you think is best for you. So. Also, good call on the stool, Jason. Good call on the stool. That was a lot.
Thanks, Jacob. Anybody else? Stool's ready. Yeah?
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a senior here, and I'm a Freshley intern. I did not think I was going to speak tonight at all, actually, but just hearing everyone else's stories really inspired me, and I felt God speaking to me. My freshman year here, I actually, earlier than that, I was not a believer growing up at all. My family, we grew up going to church, but we weren't really believing in God very much. And so I came into college not a believer at all. I did not think that I would want to join a college ministry at all. I didn't even know what college ministries were, honestly. And I remember I heard about Freshley, and I signed up for a Freshley group just because I thought it was a good way to make friends. I actually didn't really end up going to Freshley that often, which was my own fault because I was an introvert. But so then at the end of freshman year, I really just felt a calling to lead. And I asked my freshman leader about it, and I was like, should I do it? And she was like, yes. And so I did it, and then COVID hit, and everything was online, and I didn't have anyone coming to my group at all. So it was very discouraging. It was kind of a hard time for me, but through all of that, I still felt the Lord pressing on me to lead again. And I just kind of felt like it was going to be a lot better my junior year, and it was so much better my junior year. I had the best freshman group ever. My co-leader was awesome. We're really close now. And I'm still really close with some of my girls. And so I just knew I had to do it again for my last year of college, and it has just been the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. I've just made so many friends and just totally found my community here. So, thank you guys.
Anybody else? Yeah, Taco. Get it, girl.
Thanks. I was actually fighting with the Lord sitting right there. I was like, I do not want to stand up right now, please no. But yeah, hey, I'm shaking because I hate doing stuff on the whim. Like, I really would love to have something planned for you, but I don't at all whatsoever. So, thanks for the picture, Miranda. Appreciate that. Okay, so I actually had my plan made. Callie, I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she's back there, the redhead. We kind of look similar. I don't see it, but whatever. Callie was here, and I would come and visit, and I was like, I'm definitely not coming to Georgia College. But then I made my decision. I was like, okay, I think I really like it here. I felt the Lord calling me here. I'm sorry, looking at my roommate because we did not see ourselves here. So I just decided to come here, and I was like, okay, well, I know all of Callie's friends. This is great. I love Wesley. I want to get involved in that. That's awesome. And then I was like, I'm gonna rush. And Callie's a KD. If you are a KD, you've never seen her there in your life, but. Anyways, sorry, Callie. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna rush. I think I may be a KD. That would be super cool. Some really cool girls in there. And I prepped KD, and I also prepped DZ. And if you guys know, those two sororities are very polar opposites. They're very different. Anyways, and so I was like, okay, DZ, these girls are really awesome girls. I could see myself being good friends with them. Katie, my sisters in this sorority, super great people too. I've seen the fruit of this sorority. And I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, those are great options, and you could have a great community in KD, and then DZ would be fun too. And I was like, okay, tell me what you think. And he's like, well, it'd be really easy to be a KD. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? He was like, well, I mean, you've got your Wesley kind of friends, and you've got your KD friends, and I just think it'd be easy. And I was like, okay, is that bad? And he was like, well, I mean, where are you spreading the light? And I was like, that's a good question. And so that conversation led me to make a decision to be a DZ, which I'm super proud to be a DZ. What up? DZ or die? But it's not easy, making that decision, I was like, this is great, I'm a DZ. Woo! What next? And it just became really difficult because I don't know, if you guys know this, but there's not very many Christians in DZ. And as a freshman pledge, I was one of the only girls who don't drink and am a Christian. And so I just was I felt very secluded, and I felt very different from the girls in my sorority. But the Lord was like, this is where I called you to be. Just start praying. And I was like, what does that mean? Pray? Okay. So I just was okay, Lord, pray for DZ. He was like, no, you need to be intentional. And I was like, okay. So I started praying for 5 new members every week. And I was like, what is this feels difficult. I don't know any of these people, And it's 40 girls. I'm praying for these random names. But the Lord starts to do something with that, and he starts to move with that. And in the first week of praying for these girls, one girl literally reaches out to my sorority saying, I don't normally do this, and I don't want to be that kind of girl, but I need prayer right now. And it was something serious with her family. And I was like, okay, what's her name? And so I was like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna pray for her. And I went and looked back at the girls I had been praying for, and she was on that list. I had been praying for her that week. And she didn't even have to ask for prayer. The Lord was leading me in that, already surrounding her in prayer. And I have some other stories that are super cool that just the Lord is backing me up in this, and he's like, okay, Pucker, you just keep going and keep being a light, and they're gonna notice you, and they have. And I'm so bad at remembering names, but these girls are like, hey, Parker, and at Wesley a few weeks ago, this was the encouragement I truly needed, because I was like, I'm gonna drop, like, I'm so different from these girls. And I was at Wesley, and Miranda does this thing where she's like, go talk about, like, do you like ham or turkey for Thanksgiving? Or stand up, tell me your favorite Starbucks drink, you know, and like go and talk to random people. So I love to talk to random strangers and just be like, hey, tell me about yourself. And so I did. I sat in front of me. There were these two girls. I went and I talked to them, and they were like, I was like, what are y'all's names? And it was like Hope and some other girl, and I completely forgot their names. But they were like, and you're Parker. And I was like, yeah, I am. Hey, nice to meet you. And I was like, how do you know that? And I was thinking, oh, because my sister, or whatever. That's normal. And they were like, oh, well, you're in DZ. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she said, well, one of my friends adores you, and she's a freshman, and she thinks that you're awesome. And I was like, oh, and that's different. I didn't know that they knew me, you know? I just felt like I was behind the scenes. And she was like, yeah, she looks up to you, and she thinks, like, she just said all these awesome things. And I was just like, in that moment, I was like, I feel so seen. You know, things that the Lord are leading me in, they're not in vain. Like, it's not being wasted. And these girls are noticing me. And this past week, I got slated for chaplain, which I've been praying for. And I'm just like really excited to see how the Lord gets to use me as this vessel. And it's really nerve-wracking because it's like, what are these girls gonna think? And they're just so different and may not want to hear what I have to say, but like the Lord's just like leading me in prayer and loving these girls and just being a light, and like they're noticing, and I don't have to do much but just love them and be myself. And it's really cool to see the fruit of that. So if you guys ever want to talk about that and hear stories, I would love to talk to you and like encourage you in your ministry with your sorority or anything, because that's a real thing. And it's really difficult, but I would just encourage all of you to just keep praying for those who don't know Christ, and just loving on them and being a light, because you don't know like the lives you're changing. But yeah, that's all. So thanks.
Anybody else got time for maybe one more? Anyone deciding she's gonna wrap up? I got time for one more, so this is you, all of you. If you don't take it, no, I promise I won't do that. Amy's like this for I missed the signal, that was my bad. I thought you were like, no, I'm about to sing up. No, you're okay. Anybody else? Alright. We will wrap up, like you said. Well, thank you guys to everyone that shared. Appreciate you guys. That was super bold. I know it can be scary to get up here in the mic. Terrifies me every time I get it. But thank you all for sharing. One of the biggest reasons why we want to do this tonight is just that we believe there's power in remembrance and power in sharing what the Lord has done. Because it encourages our spirits, it honors the Lord, it's glorifying to Him when we remember and share testaments or stories of what He's done. Like a big theme from a lot of what you guys shared was just like the power of community and how you've experienced the Lord just through community. And I think when we share our stories, or when we share what the Lord is doing in our lives, or where we've been, I think that is a big place where the Lord can build community. So I think that's cool that was just kind of the theme for the night. So yeah, I just appreciate you guys being vulnerable and just being willing to share, and just letting us celebrate with you guys and rejoice and thank the Lord for what He has done. Just in your lives in the past, this past semester, or beyond. So y'all are awesome. So
This is our testimony from death to life. 'Cause Christ rewrote our story, I'll testify. By Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is